Her name was Amina. She grew up in a quiet village surrounded by dusty roads, wide fields, and the laughter of children running barefoot. Life was not easy there. Every day meant long hours fetching water, helping in the farm, or cooking beside her mother. But even in the hardest days, Amina always had something that made her different, her voice. She loved to sing. She would sing while carrying water pots, she would sing while sweeping the mud floor of her house, and she would sing while chasing goats back into their pen. Her voice was soft, yet powerful, like a breeze that carried both joy and peace. Her father used to smile and say, "Amina, one day the whole world will hear you." But life has a way of changing everything in a single night. One evening, after the family had eaten and gone to sleep, the village awoke to the sound of screams. Flames were rising. Sparks leapt from one hut to another. The fire swallowed everything in its path. People shouted, children cried, women wailed. Amina's family rushed out, but the smoke was thick, the flames too strong. By the time the sun rose, Amina's world was gone. Her parents, her siblings, her home, everything had turned to ashes. She was 16 years old, standing alone in the middle of ruins, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. The once joyful girl who filled the air with songs had fallen into silence. Days passed. Relatives turned her away, saying they were too poor to take another mouth to feed. Friends grew distant. Some whispered that she carried bad luck, that wherever she went, sorrow followed. Amina wandered from one place to another, her stomach empty, her spirit broken. She began to wonder if life was worth living at all. One afternoon, she sat beneath a large baobab tree on the edge of the market. Her body was weak, her eyes swollen from crying. Without even thinking, she began to hum. At first, the sound was faint, trembling, almost broken. But slowly, the melody grew. It wasn't the joyful songs of her childhood, it was a song of grief, a cry of pain turned into music. A woman selling fruits nearby stopped what she was doing. A man carrying firewood set down his bundle and listened. Soon, a small crowd gathered. Nobody spoke. They just listened as Amina poured her heart into the air. When the song ended, silence remained. Then, the fruit seller walked over and placed a piece of bread in Amina's hand. She whispered, "My daughter, don't stop singing. Your voice carries more than pain, it carries strength." That day changed everything. From then on, Amina returned to the market. She sang not because she wanted money, but because it was the only way she could breathe. Her voice told stories, of loss, of hope, of resilience. People began to call her the girl with the voice of survival. Children sat at her feet, women wiped their tears, men who never cried stood in silence, their hearts touched by her voice. Weeks turned into months. One day, an elder from the village approached her after a performance. He said, "Amina, your voice reminds us of what we have lost, but it also reminds us of what we can build again. Would you come and sing at the community gathering?" Amina hesitated. She had never stood before so many people. Her voice shook with fear. But she remembered her father's words, "One day the whole world will hear you." So she agreed. That night, under the open sky, she stood in front of hundreds. Her hands trembled, but when she opened her mouth, something powerful happened. The crowd fell silent. Her voice rose, carrying her story across the night. She sang of fire and ashes, of loss and loneliness, but also of hope and the courage to rise again. When she finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Some people were crying. Others shouted her name. For the first time since the fire, Amina felt alive again. Her journey did not stop there. She began visiting schools, telling children her story through song. She sang at weddings, not just to celebrate love, but to remind people of resilience. She sang at memorials, turning sorrow into strength. Her songs spread from one town to another, and soon, her name traveled farther than she ever imagined. Years later, when she stood on a large stage in a city she had never seen before, with lights shining and hundreds of faces looking up at her, Amina took a deep breath. She was no longer the girl who lost everything, she was the woman who found her voice. And in that moment, she realized something powerful: life can strip you of your home, your family, and your comfort. It can burn everything you know into ashes. But it cannot steal your voice, unless you let it. Amina lost everything, but she found her voice. And with that voice, she gave hope to the world.